For decades, Somaliland existed quietly, almost invisible on the world map. A semi-autonomous region in northern Somalia, functioning like a country yet largely ignored internationally. It had its own government, ports, and currency, but few outside the region even knew it existed. Suddenly, Israel is paying attention, and not in a small way. Why now? What is happening behind the scenes could reshape East Africa, shift global trade routes, and even alter the balance of power across continents. In this video, we'll explore Israel's secret strategy in Somaliland: strategic ports, quiet economic deals, soft influence, and the ripple effects that the world hasn't noticed yet. Stick around because this story is bigger than you think. Somaliland declared independence in 1991 after Somalia's central government collapsed into chaos. Since then, it has operated with remarkable stability compared to other parts of Somalia. Its government is functional, currency circulates domestically, and ports handle trade. Internationally, Somaliland remains largely unrecognized. Many countries ignore it officially, but strategically. It has begun to attract attention from some of the world's most calculating powers, most notably Israel. Its location along the Gulf of Aden, one of the busiest maritime corridors in the world, makes it a hidden gem of strategic value. Ships carrying oil, consumer goods, and military supplies pass through these narrow waters daily. For Israel, this represents a rare opportunity: a politically stable, cooperative, and small region, perfectly positioned along a vital maritime route. Unlike larger African nations where politics can be complicated and unstable, Somaliland is nimble, open to international deals, and eager to attract investment. The port of Berbera, in particular, is not just a harbor. It's a gateway to Africa, a potential hub for trade, logistics, and even military operations. Historically, controlling a strategic port has given small regions or countries influence far beyond their size. Djibouti, Aden, and the Suez Canal are prime examples. Small territories, large impact. Berbera's infrastructure has been gradually upgraded, investments from Gulf countries and international partners, making it increasingly valuable for Israel's strategic vision. Modernization of the port could allow Israel not only to facilitate trade, but also to establish subtle intelligence and logistics hubs, providing strategic leverage over neighboring countries and maritime routes. Over recent years, Israel has quietly built relationships with Somaliland's leadership. Reports suggest negotiations involving port access, trade corridor agreements, technology transfers, and infrastructure investment. None of these deals have made global headlines, but the implications are enormous. Israel is embedding influence quietly, subtly, and effectively. Using economic and diplomatic channels instead of military force, historical parallels can be seen in Israel's strategies in other regions, where soft power and economic influence have created long-term leverage without overt confrontation. Somaliland could very well be the next chapter in this pattern. Africa has long been a chessboard for global powers, from colonial times to modern investments. Even small regions can exert outsized influence. Strategic footholds have historically determined regional dynamics. Djibouti hosts military bases for multiple powers due to its strategic location. Aden in Yemen has long been a hub controlling trade between Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. Even the Suez Canal, a tiny stretch of water, has disproportionately influenced global trade and military strategy. Somaliland mirrors these examples. A small region, largely overlooked, but strategically capable of altering East African geopolitics. If Israel secures influence in Somaliland, neighboring countries are likely to respond. Ethiopia and Djibouti, reliant on regional ports, could perceive Israel's presence as a challenge. Gulf nations invested in East African trade corridors will closely monitor developments, while Somalia's central government may view it as interference, potentially raising political tensions within the Horn of Africa. Israel's approach is subtle, combining trade, investment, technology, and diplomacy, allowing maximum strategic leverage while minimizing risk. Somaliland's coastline gives control over vital maritime routes, particularly the Red Sea corridor, which is essential for global trade and military logistics. By establishing subtle intelligence hubs or soft military infrastructure, Israel could influence regional rivals like Ethiopia, Djibouti, and even China, all without engaging in open conflict. This approach exemplifies Israel's hallmark strategy: quiet, precise, and calculated. Subtle positioning and strategic partnerships allow influence to grow while remaining largely invisible on the global stage. Economically, Somaliland could transform into a trade hub. Investments in ports, logistics, and infrastructure could attract foreign capital and shift the balance of power in East Africa. Israel could facilitate trade routes, embed technology partnerships, and provide cyber and security support, creating dependencies that strengthen its strategic influence. Neighboring nations are likely to respond through diplomacy, investment, or strategic maneuvering, creating a complex network of regional reactions. Soft power is central to Israel's strategy. By providing training, technology, investment, and development projects, Israel quietly embeds itself in the region. Shaping geopolitics without triggering global backlash, soft power often outperforms military might in politically sensitive areas. And Somaliland provides an ideal environment for this approach. This quiet influence allows Israel to control leverage points in the region while minimizing international scrutiny. Scenario analysis helps understand the potential outcomes in a best-case scenario. Somaliland becomes a thriving trade hub with Israel gaining influence subtly, and regional powers adjust diplomatically without conflict. In a worst-case scenario, Somalia or neighboring nations resist Israel's involvement, potentially creating political tension or proxy conflicts, affecting trade and security. The likely scenario involves gradual Israeli influence through trade, technology, and infrastructure, with neighboring powers adjusting softly to maintain regional balance. Each scenario highlights how small moves in overlooked regions can ripple into major global consequences. Historically, Israel has demonstrated patience and long-term strategy in geopolitics. In Somaliland, these qualities are evident again. The region is small, politically stable, and strategically located, ideal for Israel's subtle approach. Beyond immediate regional impact, such a foothold could have broader implications for East Africa, the Red Sea corridor, and global trade dynamics, influencing how powers like the US, China, and Gulf nations operate in the region. Looking further, Somaliland could emerge as a central player in East Africa. If Israel continues to build influence, the region could attract additional foreign investment, modernize infrastructure, and become a strategic trade and logistics hub. This, in turn, could trigger diplomatic, economic, and strategic responses from neighboring countries and global powers, reshaping regional geopolitics for decades. Even minor missteps, leaked deals, political backlash, or misinterpretation by neighboring states could escalate tensions far beyond expectations. Every small move in Somaliland carries outsized consequences, showing why overlooked regions can suddenly become globally significant. The story of Israel and Somaliland ultimately teaches a critical lesson. Pay attention to regions that others ignore. Small, calculated moves can create ripple effects with enormous strategic value. Israel's actions demonstrate that influence is not always about military strength. It's about soft power, economic leverage, strategic partnerships, and patient planning. As we watch Somaliland's rise on the geopolitical map, one thing is clear: the region is no longer invisible. Its ports, trade routes, and political stability make it a highly coveted strategic asset. Israel's moves exemplify a masterclass in subtle geopolitics, embedding influence steadily while avoiding international scrutiny. The question for the world is, will this strategy trigger a major shift in East Africa, or is it simply a calculated plan that remains largely behind the scenes? Comment below, what do you think could happen next? And if you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. The story of Somaliland and Israel is just beginning, and the next moves could surprise the world.